Breaking new ground.
I know. I don't know if we are or we aren't live, but it says we are. I don't know how to tell when you're live on like any of the other apps besides YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean besides Instagram. Let's see what it says here. Oh, hey, we're live. We're on Facebook.
There we go.
Okay, let's see if we're live anywhere else. Hmm. Check Instagram.
We're live on YouTube.
What? How do you find that?
Well, to find it, you have to subscribe to the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Pod.
Wow. Okay. Can I subscribe to my own channel? I don't think so.
And we're
Oh, we have to.
live on X. So we are up and running. So welcome,
Awesome.
everybody. What a week of professional wrestling. Mary, you want to start us off?
Yeah, definitely. Welcome back to the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast.
Tonight isn't your typical episode. We had to hit record because wrestling fans, we're absolutely spoiled here. This is our live reaction show, first time live across all platforms, and we've got a lot to unpack here tonight.
We're breaking down Monday Night Raw, where the road ahead took some unexpected turns, and then we're diving headfirst into AEW Bash Break 2026, a
Beach
card that
break.
wow, a card that absolutely had no business feeling like it was just another Wednesday night. I don't know if you caught that finish, but we'll give you a few minutes so we don't spoil anything. But seriously, if you covered up the logo and told someone this was a pay per view, they'd probably believe you.
We're talking the biggest matches, the moments that had us jumping off the couch, the booking decisions we loved, the ones we're still debating, and the stories that could shape the rest of the summer.
So, as always, one of us is going to make bold predictions, one of us is going to have an opinion the other can't stand, and somewhere along the way, we're probably going to ask the question every wrestling fan asks after a wild night of TV: where do they go from here?
So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and join us for this instant reaction and a huge night of professional wrestling.
This is the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast, and let's ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding.
So we'll get into beach
Give
break in a
me
little bit.
1 second, guys. I'm having a technical difficulty here.
Oh, no worries. So we'll get into beach break in a little bit here. It was a wild night on AEW. We're going to start off with Monday Night Raw because not only did wrestling happen tonight, but it happened Monday night, and a lot happened.
Yeah, so let's just dive right into it. We had the World Tag Team title match. The Vision pick up the win against the Street Profits in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And this was a title change. Super exciting. Babe, why don't you break it down for us?
Yeah, before the match even started, Paul Heyman told the Vision, you know, come back with something that, warrants the attention of the wise man. And the Vision not only came back with the WWE Tag Team titles, Austin Theory gained a new squeeze. Maxine is fully in the fold. She helped them win the title with a poor attempt at the signature move. And we have new tag champs.
I didn't see that coming. Did you see that coming? Did she
Yeah,
like sell her soul to the devil?
they've been approaching her for like a month and a half, so it's about time WWE TV actually paid off and, did some stuff. Normally the TV hasn't been mattering. They can do whatever they want week to week, but we got a long term story finally paying off. And it's a great look for Maxine. She looked awesome, gave her a little bit of an edge. So it'll be nice. She had a lot of, displaying a lot of the same emotion that Liv presents. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, she definitely had that live vibe. I think I might like her as a heel. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if she changes and develops anymore. But that was a surprise to me, so that's
Yeah.
exciting.
It'll also be interesting to see where the Street Profits go. There was a lot of, chatter. Could they have been breaking up before they won the tag titles? And, a lot of fans have been clamoring for a Montez Ford single run. And what a time to pull it off. It'd be something interesting. I think, if he went heel, he could be the WWE version of what Kevin Knight is to AEW.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. All right, let's take it to the women's intercontinental title match. Sol Ruka still walked away with her title against Big Mommy Cool. This match went for 10 minutes and 14 seconds. I loved this match. I mean, I'm a huge Raquel Rodriguez fan. I think she's incredible. She's a great talent. I love her look. I love to see a, big strong woman. I do like Sol Ruka, but I think I was hoping that Raquel Rodriguez would walk away with a championship around her waist.
Yeah, there was a few moments there where it looked like Raquel was going to walk away as new Intercontinental Champion, which would have been a nice end of summer feud for both of them. But certainly something to keep an eye on. They're building up Soul very strong. The one thing you can say is about a lot of the newcomers that have come up from NXT. They're not wasting them. They're booking them strong. Sol Ruka, Trick Williams, Oba Femi, someone we're going to talk about in just a moment, Ethan Page. A lot of the newcomers are getting, their moment to shine. So, at least they're booking Soul strong.
So let's talk about this tag team match. More importantly, let's talk about how I had a moment the other night where I was like, oh my God, could I like Rusev? And I think I only like him because he's with Ethan Page. I mean, I change my loyalty like I change my underpants all the time. So, I mean, tell me about this match. Ethan Page and Rusev picked up the win against Chad Gable and Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan Page and Rusev have been, you know, forming, a little alliance in their pursuit of the Intercontinental Championship. And Ethan Page has just been fantastic since he came over to NXT and WWE from leaving AEW. He's been awesome, and he was always awesome in AEW. And I really loved him when he was with Josh Alexander in TNA as the North. They were a great tag team. I was hoping, AEW would have used them as a unit again, but he's been awesome. I loved everything he's done with Chelsea. His social media game has stepped up. He's an in-ring veteran, and he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to work the crowd. And Rusev has personality. He just gets stuck on these gimmicks, and he won't budge. And that was the problem with AEW. If you remember the Rusev day, everybody loved that. And that's when he started to let some personality out. And he wasn't this, I'm doing it for my God and, whatever else. But, he doesn't have to be that. He could show a little personality. And I'm hoping, Ethan Page brings it out of him. And, if you started to see Rusev in a nice suit like Ethan Page, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I definitely think Ethan Page is hopefully going to bring some of that out in him because he is entertaining, when he's being funny and, less stoic. And I think he'll get, I mean, they're already booking him all the time, so it's not like he really needs to change much, but it would be nice for the people that watch the product if, he was a character we liked. But I digress.
Yeah. And, the big talking point here beyond Rusev is Chad Gable. I think WWE is totally blowing, his momentum after, that fantastic mask versus mask match, which is, as it stands right now, my match of the year so far in 2026. And, he has that match, he loses, he comes back to, Raw as Chad Gable, and he goes on this apology tour. And it's like, man, he should be on cloud nine. He just had match of the year. He's back. He's focused. He knows how awesome he is. And he should be going for that Intercontinental title. And we'll see what happens at SummerSlam. It'll probably be another ladder match or some kind of special match. But I think Chad Gable, they need to capitalize on him and stop wasting time and book him strong. Even if it's, not as a championship holder, make him a championship contender,
Yeah.
because give me, the tribal chief and Chad Gable, and that's something that would be interesting. That's something new, something fresh, something you haven't seen. So, they got to do something with Chad Gable, because the clock is ticking. Momentum only lasts so long.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to do anything notable with him, but we can hope that they would.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're following us, joining us live on all our platforms, make sure you comment, make sure you ask questions, involve yourself in the show.
All right, so let's take it to the main event. Now, this is the match heard around the world. Um, the undisputed WWE title match. CM Punk picks up the win against Sami Zayn in 20 minutes and 29 seconds, so effectively ending his 9-day title reign. Um, I think everyone's upset. Nobody wanted this to happen. I don't, and then he recreated the refrigerator pick with the title, but
Yep.
anyways, I didn't want that for Sammy. I would have liked to see him longer. But what do you think, babe?
I mean, you could see it coming. I mean, the plan all along was Punk and Cody at SummerSlam. And, whether Sammy held the title to SummerSlam or lost it here or lost it at Saturday night's main event, that was the plan all along. Sammy, wasn't going to get a long title run. And, you know, as much as I want Sammy to have a decent title run, I think it builds for a better story to have Sammy, bitching and moaning and complaining like he's awesome at, and have him feel, cheated and, shorted out, that he had to take his first defense was a few days later, and he didn't even know his opponent. His opponent changed. He planned for one person, got another person. So I think it sets up awesome for, him to have a compelling story, potentially too, if Kevin Owens is coming back and they're a two-man wrecking crew going through everybody, destroying Punk, battling Cody and, CM Punk in tag matches. I think that would be awesome. Anytime those two are together, it's fun and entertaining. But Punk is Punk. You're in Chicago, they're gonna use him. You know, he pulled, as one of your favorites, a WrestleMania 9, came in and won the title after not being there, just like the Hulkster.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's, we'll see where it goes from here. But this is what I always talk about when we mention, is this person going to sign with WWE? Are they going to go there? Are they going to go to AEW? Are they going to go to TNA? And you have to think, when you're going to WWE, are you going to be able to get past that top line where it's the
Yeah.
same, 5 or 6 guys going for the title? Sammy broke through. He broke through for 9 days.
And he's been there. I mean, he's
Yeah,
been there for over a decade now, right? I mean, just as long as AJ Styles, if not longer.
yeah, yeah.
So,
He came from the independents right into, NXT. He was one of Dusty's guys, and he was NXT champion. He's now a Grand Slam champion. He's held every title in the company. So, we'll see where it goes. But, this is Punk. Punk also looked bigger. He was probably in the best shape he's ever been in. We'll see how that translates to the ring, as he's never been this big.
yeah.
So we'll see. It's different, but it just seems like Punk is slowly becoming everything he didn't want to be, and everything he fought against, and everything that
Yeah.
made people love him.
Yeah, I mean they do. Hey, Godric. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see the point of, giving Sammy the belt for 9 days because Sammy is a compelling story. Like, if you could, I mean, that's his gimmick, and that's not the gimmick he intends, but he is that compelling story. Year in and year out, and to make him compelling again, it just doesn't work for me. But maybe like you said, him and Kevin Owens will be a two-man wrecking crew and clean house, and maybe Sammy could be the ultimate heel. You know, him and Kevin Owens. I mean, Kevin Owens was made to be a heel.
Yeah. I mean, he's another guy that looks like he's in the best shape of his life. So, certainly, things to keep an eye on. And, it certainly looks like it's going to be Punk and Cody at SummerSlam. They did announce CM Punk is going to be at SmackDown on Friday. So I'm sure we'll get a clearer picture from there.
Godric says sometimes you live long enough to become the villain.
Absolutely.
Godric's a friend of the pod. Love to see you here.
Yeah, welcome, Godric.
All right. So there's some news and notes of the week for WWE. I mean, one of the bigger ones is Sheamus turning down his contract and being done with the company. What other intel do you have about that, babe?
Yeah, I mean, he was offered another deal, and it was reported at less money. So he turned that down, and we'll see where he goes from here. Uh, some people from AEW have been, you know, taking the social media and commenting on this, encouraging it. MJF, Cesaro. So, could we see the bar reforming? Could we see Sheamus joining the Death Riders?
Good. Who
Could
was
we
in the
see
bar? It was
Cesaro
Cesaro
and
and Sheamus.
yep,
Nobody else.
yeah, just those two. Remember they came
I,
out with that entrance with the
yes,
spotlight and
the spy. It was like a spy entrance. I loved that.
yeah, when Claudio would rip off his tux.
Yep, loved it. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then,
I think it would be good. I think it depends. Sheamus had a lot of injuries. He's up there in age. He's pushing 50. So, I mean, we've seen in AEW that, older wrestlers can be successful. I'd even love to see him on a short, New Japan run. I mean, could you imagine him in, the New Japan Cup? That would be great. You know, him and Aaron Wolf as a tag team to protect Aaron Wolf a little bit. You see him in TNA, he could instantly be a top guy in TNA.
yeah, he could.
You know, maybe Sheamus Bandito at Death Before Dishonor for a Ring of Honor title match. I mean, that'd be fun.
That would be awesome. It would be fun to see him in another capacity. I mean, all I've known him in was WWE, and it would be cool to see him, you know, in a different gimmick, just something something brand new. But maybe he takes off some time while he develops that gimmick, and then comes out in a big way in another company. I think it could be exciting, and he is getting older, but like I feel like wrestlers can wrestle well into their 50s now and still be, showstoppers in their own right. So it could be
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of potential for all the matchups he could have, and his physical style translates to a lot of different companies, and it would be fun. Specifically in somewhere like New Japan, that'd be awesome. And certainly an AEW run would be great. And if he comes in with the mindset that I'm just gonna have these awesome matches wherever I go, then that'll be great. But if he wants to be the top guy, then it's something completely different, and that's where people like Malachi Black and Rusev, might have had some issues.
Yeah, I agree. And then we've got the debut of Zilla Fatu and Enzo and Cass coming any day now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so the reports are that Zilla Fatu has signed with WWE. So, whether that's a NXT run or, adding to this bloodline storyline, there's a lot of potential there. If you recall, Zilla is the son of Umaga, so family ties are strong there, and especially in WWE. He was trained by, Booker T. He was down in, Reality of Wrestling. That was one of his first big angles, is the Heat with Booker T. And he's been working House of Glory a lot, and he's had some really good matches and some good feuds there. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets added in. And certainly he's athletic. You know, him and Solo would be fun as a tandem, or him and Jacob. Who both seem like the two outcasts of the family that have that history and everything. It'd be fun to see.
Like him and Jacob Fatu could be the, bodyguards for Roman Reigns. They're the ones. We've been watching a lot of Sopranos, so that he could be the boss, they could be the captains. And shake people down all over Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
Be pretty fun.
Yeah, it would be interesting. And then Danhausen, in his most recent segment, mentioned that he was going to get some guys from New York, and what two better guys to come out on Saturday night's main event to help him with the Judgment Day than Enzo and Cass. I mean, in Madison Square Garden, they have a huge history there. I mean, we were there the night they crashed the Ring of Honor New Japan show out of the crowd, and nobody knew. But they're going to get a huge pop. It'll be interesting to see how they're presented, but they could be the WWE version of like a Hardy's, where they get that nostalgia run where people are loving it for a while.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Any other news and notes of the week, babe?
That's it for right now, but stay tuned. Follow us on X. Make sure you're there, because we like to stay up to date. We like to share all the news and notes going on in the wrestling world, and we're always down for a good discussion.
Definitely. So, Monday night definitely gave us plenty to talk about, from the standout performances to the storylines that could shape the next few months. But as big as Raw was, the wrestling world wasn't done with us yet.
Now is the time to switch gears, because tonight AEW delivered something that felt bigger than a standard television show. That was Beach Break 2026. It rolled out a lineup that looked more like a pay per view card than a weekly episode, and there was no shortage of memorable moments tonight, major implications, and huge talking points.
So, let's head over to AEW, break down each break match by match, and figure out what hit, what surprised us, and what it all means moving forward, the first annual Redemption pay per view. All
So this was
right.
an awesome show.
It was
I
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, this could have been a pay-per-view without question. I mean, even the pre-show, it had, Big Show coming out and making the save for Steve Borden. So if you were there, Sting's son has been pretty much working every dark match at AEW shows.
Yeah,
And tonight, Jay Lethal and Blake Christian were ganging up on him. And who made the save? But the Big Show, Paul White.
I missed that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it wasn't on TV. It was just done for people in the area, and that's where Big Show's from. So the fact that he's able to even get in the ring at all, it's awesome to see, and good for him.
Yeah, definitely. So we opened the show with Tommaso Ciampa beating Chris Jericho. I mean, did you see those pants? Poor guy had to lose in glitter pants.
Yeah, I mean, we were 11 minutes in, and we already got our first sight of blood for the night.
Yeah.
So, this is a huge feud right now, and I tweeted this out tonight, but what an addition Tommaso Ciampa's been to AEW.
Absolutely.
Week in and week out, he's just having great matches. He's, putting on fantastic matches every single week with different talent. And, he won the TNT title in his debut. And, people were thinking, oh, him losing, it's all down from here. But I think he's gotten stronger, and I think he's done great. And
Yeah.
if anybody's upset, it should be Johnny Gargano, because look at what he's doing. All he's doing is laying on crates, and here's Champa having, amazing match every single time he's on TV.
Yeah, I think it was probably the best move for him ever. I mean, I've been a fan. Hello, I have like one of his oldest shirts, for since I first saw him, and um, I'm excited to see what else he does with AEW. His matches, like you said, they're bangers every week. Every time he's on, on Dynamite or Collision, he's, having the fight of his life. So I think, yeah, I'm glad that he's there, and he's fun. He's fun to watch. I mean, he's always been fun to watch, and he's super athletic and just a great wrestler. So it has been fantastic.
Yeah, and even Jericho, not taking anything away from Jericho tonight, who has been awesome since his return as well.
Yeah,
He did the smart thing coming back out to Fozzy. People want to cheer Jericho at this point. They don't want to boo him. They know
yeah,
he's not here forever. So, enjoy it while you can. And that's the great thing about AEW is they take care of the veterans and they present them, really well.
yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
You
So
know,
then we had another great match. Let's talk about this Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita match. What a match! So incredible. I know Kyle Fletcher's your favorite, but this was just phenomenal.
listen, I've been on the Kyle Fletcher hype train here. If you've been following us week after week, you're probably sick of me saying it, but I'm going to say it again. Kyle Fletcher right now reminds me of 1994 Shawn Michaels. I mean, their paths are so very similar. Tag team wrestlers. They got that big manager on the outside, both having these banger matches, stealing the show every time they're out there. I mean, I absolutely love Kyle Fletcher. I think he's, top 5 in pro wrestling right now. He's
Yeah,
got the look, he's great on the mic, he's great in the ring. I mean, that top rope brainbuster was insane.
yeah,
Then when he took that tombstone on the apron and then the wheelbarrow slam on the apron, I mean, you could just hear the thump through your TV.
yeah. That was a great match, and I mean, the championship looks great on Kyle Fletcher. I mean, I think the you know the Don Callis family. I'm not a super fan of them, but I do think giving them as many championships as possible, even lends towards their heelness, and you know, it's just yeah. So I'm glad. I'm glad Kyle Fletcher won the title. Although, I do like Takesha a lot as well, and I was happy he had it. But
Well,
get
Takeshita
get get
had to
rid of it.
lose because he's going to be in the G1. So he's going to have to lose some matches in the G1. He's not going to go over there again and just
Yeah,
steamroll everybody. So it makes sense here that wise. But, these guys are going to be battling forever. Uh, this isn't going to be the last time we see them in the ring together. Wouldn't shock me if we see them again at All In. And, it'll be interesting to see how long Okada sits on the side. And, eventually are we going to see a Fletcher and Okada clash at some point within the Don
yeah.
Callis family?
I mean, that
But
would be epic.
yeah, and then after the match, we got one of the funnest interactions of the night, Mick Foley coming out and interacting with Don Callis, saying he was going to shove his shoe up his ass if he keeps disrespecting him like that. So, it
Yeah.
certainly seems like we're getting closer to a Mick Foley altercation with someone.
Hopefully, it's very minor. That guy's been through a lot.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Darby and Foley versus Kevin Knight and Don Callis, because if you remember, Don Callis is a trained wrestler as well.
Yeah, why Kevin Knight though? I'm wondering.
Because who attacked Darby when he lost the world title?
Oh, it was Kevin Knight. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
And, who's been laying booby traps out for Kevin Knight?
Darby Allen. You're right.
Right. So there you
I
go,
guess you're
Darby.
right.
I know I'm right. For former TNT champion going back for the title again. I mean, they could set something up at Redemption and then, have it, come to face at All In, which would be awesome. But then we're also getting uh Mark Davis against Andrade for the national title.
Yeah.
And, I said months ago that Andrade is perfect for the national title because he can go all over the world. He can go to Mexico, go to Japan, go to Indies, go to Rev Pro, and work all these different places and defend that title.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right.
a lot of big stuff coming from the Don Callis family.
I mean, the family certainly is big enough. There should probably always be good stuff coming from the Don Callis family. All right. Then we had Will Ospreay and John Moxley versus the Workhorsemen. I feel like they could add a few more names to their title. That sounds like a big name to me. Um, what was the point of this match? It wasn't a squash. I don't feel like these guys are well known.
They're Ring of Honor staples. They've been in AEW for a long time and two solid hands. And this was Osprey and Moxley teaming up as a tag team for the first time. And, eventually you're going to get the Osprey versus Moxley match. The student has to beat the teacher to fully be prepared and ready to move on to that next step and that next level.
Yeah, definitely. I think this match, it felt like, I mean, it was fine. It was okay. But I don't know. It was, at some points, hard to watch. For me, anyways. Like, you could see them working through the choreography that they had. But I feel like Mox and Osprey, did their best to kind of carry the match and really, like, make it look like something special.
Yeah, I mean, you're also leaving out the most important thing that happened during this match, AEW showing our tweet on their nationally televised broadcast.
Yes! Guys, Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Podcast is all elite. You heard it here first.
Yeah, they showed us. This is our third time being shown on AEW television. So we were shown during this match. So if you rewatch it on HBO Max, or if you're international, wherever you get it, you can certainly check us out. All Elite
Yep.
Wrestling. Give us a follow back. Give us those media credentials we've been pleading for week after
Okay.
week, month after month. We're ready.
We're ready. Definitely. It is always cool to see the pod on there. I mean, that's the live tweets. That's all Steve. He does the live tweeting for every show, every week, every day. So, yeah, shout out to you, babe. That's you. That's all you.
Tweet us back. Leave a comment. We're always interacting on there.
Yep, definitely. And give us a follow. We're trying to boost our followers. We've got a lot of great stuff to say.
Yeah, we're doing reels. We got our summer indie spotlight, so make sure you don't miss any of the content. We're not just doing weekly recaps. We have a little bit of everything. Independence. We're trying to show you guys the stars of tomorrow. When we go to local shows, we make sure we, share pictures, videos. So if you want to know what's going on outside of, the big players in professional wrestling, make sure you follow us on all your platforms.
Definitely. And this week, you don't want to miss it. We've got Bryce Maddox on from CCW, um, AZW. I mean, he's in several promotions. Guardians Legacy. Um, yeah, you don't want to miss it. It's gonna be a great episode. All right, so let's get into this Casino Gauntlet match. For the winner to face Tekla at the Redemption pay per view. Um, Tekla was the star for me.
I don't know why Tekla's on commentary. Then they come back from commercial. Man, I love Tekla. It's
I'm telling
are we
you.
watching the same show?
Listen, at first I was like, why? Why is she doing this? Like, she is not doing great. And then she just started flying off the handle, like talking about motorboating Mina Shirakawa and like calling
Yeah.
everybody bitches.
Yeah, that's her thing. She comes out and there's, trends on social media where they have drinking games where you take a shot every time Tekla says dumb bitches.
I love that. I would have been drunk. She said it a lot and
Yeah,
didn't
I
take
mean,
much.
you hear it every week on this show. I love Tekla. I think she's awesome. I think she's been the best woman in pro wrestling in 2026. Her promos are fun. Her matches are great. She's got this, long term story with Stardom. And it seems like every show she's showing up here and there and harassing, the president. And yeah, it's great. And we got the big return tonight, Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, that was very exciting. I didn't expect her to come back. She kicked butt. She ends up picking up the win. She was able to, go through, the Triangle of Madness, Mina Shirakawa, Athena. There was a lot of great wrestlers. Maya World. Um,
Yep.
and then at the very end, we got the Double D's coming out to take out the Triangle of Madness with the help of Mercedes Monet. So
Yeah, it looks like they're working together, which is a very interesting pairing. I mean, the Owen Hart champion, Mercedes Monet, she's picking the right people to have her back. Megan Bain and
yeah.
Lena Cross, the tag champs.
I feel like they could absolutely um do them as her bodyguards. I'm on a bodyguard kick tonight, but I mean Megan Bain and what's her name?
Lena Cross.
Lena Cross. They, you know, they have the presence, they have the talent. Um they could really do a lot of funny stuff as like Mercedes Monet's, you know, bodyguards, but also you want, them to shine as well because they are super talented and
Yeah, I don't want them to just be bodyguards. I want them to form a faction. Like let's have Mercedes start her own four horsewomen. Her,
yeah.
Divine Dominion, and then possibly this fall, could it be?
Bailey!
Yeah,
Hugger's gonna hug.
that foursome right there. That's interesting. That's a group that could dominate the women's division. I mean, you have the tag champs, the world champ, the TBS champ. You know, there's a lot going right there. That would be something interesting to see. And I've been I've preached day and night Willow versus Bailey. That's my dream match. I think that would be awesome.
I think it would be fun. I think it'd be a great match. It'd be really great to see Bailey shine. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if she comes and if she'll be the hugger or not.
Yeah, but this win here tonight for Willow was a huge win, and this sets up her to face Tekla in Montreal at Redemption later this month. So that's going to be a huge matchup. I think this could be Willow's chance. She could be pulling a Kenny Omega where she has the title, but she only has it until All In, where whoever's the champ has to face Mercedes because she earned that right. And unlike the other company, AEW seems to follow through when they have a tournament and someone wins.
Wins and losses mean something?
Yeah, some of these companies, wins and losses do matter. I mean, you know, same with in real life. You want those W's, not those L's. But Willow versus Tekla should be fun. The build-up's going to be interesting with the Triangle of Madness. I'm sure Willow's going to have to go through Sky Blue and potentially Julia Hart as well. So maybe Harley Cameron gets involved, and we have a little something going on there.
Maybe. Never know. All right, let's talk about the piece of resistance. The main event, it even went long. Kenny Omega picks up the win, becoming a two-time AEW World Champion against MJF. How do you feel about this?
I mean, I'm always happy when Kenny Omega's on top, when Kenny Omega's the world champion. Uh, he's one of the best to ever do it in pro wrestling. And it's great to see him as a champ. And the only downside to all this is potentially it being just a short run. I mean, looks like that's what we're getting a lot of lately is just short title runs from everybody. MJF just won his third title at Double or Nothing. We happened to be there and see that live, so that was awesome. But, MJF losing it here to Kenny, certainly sets up Kenny versus Will at All In, which is a huge match. It'll be
Yeah.
Omega versus Osprey 3 potentially. And, Osprey's won one, Omega's won one. So here's the rubber match to see who could win it. Assuming they all, everything stays the way it is. But, the thing I wonder is, did that knee injury for MJF come into play for this quick title change?
I mean, you saw him grab his knee during the match after he did that flippy move.
Yeah, when
Kenny
he did
Omega.
the reverse salt and then
Yeah.
the heat seeker.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could have come into play. I mean, we were looking forward to MJF Osprey at Wimbledon. Wimbledon? Wembley.
Wembley.
Yes.
Wrong
So,
sport.
is it? What's
Yeah,
Wimbledon?
tennis.
Isn't that what Wembley is?
Nope, that's the stadium.
What? Oh, so it's not two different sports. It's a stadium and a sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wimbledon is a tennis tournament that happens.
And Wembley's the stadium it happens in.
No.
Oh. I don't even remember what we're talking about now.
The world title
Tennis.
match from the night.
It was great. I love it. Kenny Omega, he's definitely in my top 5 wrestlers of all time, one of my all-time favorites, so I'm happy he's the champ again. No matter how long or how short it is, it's probably his final run, right? He's looking at maybe being done.
It could be. I certainly hope not. He finally seems healthy. He seems as close to the cleaner as he has been during his AEW run. So I'm hoping not. I loved his gear tonight. It looked like a little bit of an homage to the Golden Lovers. So that was great to
Definitely.
see. Yeah. I love that. There was so many awesome moments in this match when MJF went head first through the announce table. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And MJF trying to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but Osprey coming into play. That'll be interesting. What next for MJF? If he is injured, he could take some time to heal up. If he's not injured, man, him being angry and frustrated, potentially having to deal with a returning Hangman Page, that would be awesome. Something to consider. A blow-off match with those two. That would be really entertaining.
Yeah.
Or we get the MJF Andrade match that, has been teased for so long.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yes, and, with Kenny being the champ, he's most likely going to be defending at the next pay-per-view. So who could that challenger be? That's what's going to be interesting too. Could it be Swerve? Could it be, someone like a Kyle Fletcher? Is it going to be Kevin Knight? I'd rather see Swerve than Kevin Knight, I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be a better match. I'd like that a lot. Swerve
Yeah.
still has to make more blood, though. He really pretty much lost all of his at the last match he had, so we'll see if he's there.
Yeah, it's his house, so we'll see what happens. But, congratulations to Kenny Omega. Certainly going to be a huge talking point. If you didn't see the match tonight, make sure you go out of your way to check it out. I would check out the whole card, the world title match, and, especially that international title match. Those two matches were awesome. But this was a great AEW show. As they've done all year, all their shows have been awesome. They've been really delivering, whether it's weekly television or it's month over month. Certainly, some of the best wrestling in the world is All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. The news and notes for the week on AEW, we saw it on Dynamite. Jack Perry resigns with the company. He said, I fell in love, and blah, blah, blah. And,
Yeah, he wants to be world champion.
so he's in it. He's in it to win it. But,
Yeah, so,
good for him.
he's back. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see where he goes. Is he going to continue on as this version of Jack Perry? Are we going to get a new version? There's a lot that could happen, and
Yeah.
we'll see.
And then your note here, babe. Are the Young Bucks off TV till the new day or free? And when is that going to be? Wembley or just after?
No, so the end of this month is when they're gonna all those wrestlers that were released at that time 90 days ago. It's coming up at the end of the month, so it would make a lot of sense. Kenny even mentioned that the Young Bucks were home, staying away from this. So I would love to see the Young Bucks off TV for a couple of weeks, and that confrontation when it does happen, Young Bucks and New Day. Whether it's at the pay per view, whether it's after the pay per view. They're not going to need very long to set up this match. They could have stuff ready for social media. They could have stuff ready for future shows. I think that's going to be one of the headlining matches for Wembley because, soon as, Redemption's done, we're looking at, building towards this card. Right now, you know that Mercedes is in the women's title match and Osprey is in the men's title match.
Yeah.
And beyond that, we don't have much else.
Yeah.
So, a lot of stuff to go and a lot of seats to fill in that stadium. So, we're going to need some compelling stories and, Omega Osprey and Young Bucks versus New Day. That's a great start. And, could it be Willow versus Mercedes for the world title?
Yeah. Definitely.
That's a heavy top 3 that's, going to get you some eyes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic show. Um, like we said, we have a lot going on here on the podcast. Definitely check us out every week. We have our weekly review, which usually comes out on Wednesdays at 8. We have our Summer Indie Spotlight that comes out every Friday at 6 p.m. Like we said, we have the Machine Bryce Maddox coming on this week. Next week, we have the co owners of AON Wrestling Company, a new promotion in West Virginia. It's worth checking them out. What other guests we have coming here soon? Ace Bradley,
Rico Gold.
Rico Gold, and he's having a huge match with Val Venus here in a couple of weeks on I think it's the 23rd of July. Um, we've got a lot of incredible talent coming on the pod, so you don't want to miss it. Next week we're going to announce a giveaway, so check all our socials. We're on everything: X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok.
it's everywhere. Oh yeah, we're on TikTok. We don't know how to do it, but we're on TikTok. So
Yeah. If you want to support the pod, we have a Pro Wrestling Tees. Make sure you check us out. Our emails are in all of our socials, so send us questions if you have questions, things you want to hear talked about. Next week, we're going to be diving into the hype for Saturday night's main event, doing a retrospect, looking back at 2 of the biggest Saturday night's main event in the history of that show. So it'll be a big time, heavy WWE. So if you want to get ready for Saturday night's main event, make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe to all of our platforms so you don't miss out on these awesome shows. We're covering stuff that you don't see on every other podcast. We've done Ring of Honor lookbacks, PWG lookbacks. So, a lot of stuff coming. We might even do some New Japan stuff here in the coming weeks.
yeah, absolutely. So that's gonna do it for our live reaction of the of Dynamite and Raw. This has been the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast.
What a week of pro wrestling between everything that happened on Monday and this stacked AEW Beach Break show. There's no shortage of moments that are going to have fans talking all week long, and it doesn't stop. TNA tomorrow. Friday, we have SmackDown this weekend. The G1 Supercard in Chicago kicks off. I might even be tweeting a little bit about the Conor McGregor fight. So make sure you follow us on X and stay up to date on everything.
We definitely want to hear from you, like Steve said, what your favorite match of the night was, which moment shocked you the most. Did Raw or Beach Break deliver the better overall show? Let us know in the comments. We'll be jumping in and joining the discussion.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe to us on YouTube, Share and review. It helps us reach more wrestling fans and to continue bringing you this weekly episodic show with rare interviews, reviews, and some of the best names in pro wrestling and some of the names that you haven't even discovered yet.
We'll be back soon with another episode of the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Podcast. But until then, keep supporting professional wrestling, keep supporting independent wrestling, and remember,
We'll catch you next time.
thanks. Bye, guys.